In the frozen darkness of the Bering Sea, wind cuts across the deck like blades, and every wave that slams the hull sounds like a warning. Down below, chained to the stern, steel pots wait to be dropped into water so cold it can stop a heart in minutes. This is where the king crab industry begins. Not in a kitchen, not in a market, but in one of the most punishing places on Earth. Go discover the full journey of the king crab, from the deadliest sea in America to the most luxurious plate in the world. Each October, as the short Alaskan season opens, fleets of crab boats race out of Dutch Harbor into open water. The crew has only a few weeks to fill their quota before ice and storms close the season for good. Every hour at sea is a gamble, and every pot pulled from the deep can be worth thousands of dollars or nothing at all. The pots themselves are brutal machines of function over comfort. Each one weighs close to 700 pounds, built from welded steel bars, baited with herring, and dropped hundreds of feet into darkness. Deckhands work in freezing spray, wearing survival suits underneath their gear, because falling overboard in these waters gives a person less than 10 minutes to live. When the pot breaks the surface, the entire crew gathers around it. Inside, dozens of king crabs claw over one another, their legs spanning nearly 6 feet from tip to tip. Only the largest, healthiest males are kept. Females and undersized crabs are returned immediately to the sea, a rule enforced not just by law, but by necessity, since this fishery nearly collapsed once before from overharvesting decades ago. Once sorted, the crabs are dropped into circulating tanks built directly into the hull, chilled to match the temperature of their natural seabed. Keep the water too warm, and the crabs become stressed and die within hours. Keep it too cold, and their muscles seize, ruining the meat before it ever reaches land. This tank is where a season's profit either survives or disappears. After days at sea, the boat finally turns toward port, hull heavy with live cargo worth well over $1 million. But arriving at the dock is not the end of the danger. It is the start of a new race, because live crab cannot wait. At the dock, refrigerated trucks line up before the boat has even tied its ropes. Crews transfer thousands of live crabs directly from ship to truck, each one still submerged in aerated seawater to keep them alive for the short drive to the processing plant. From here, every minute matters. A delay of even a few hours can mean the difference between a crab arriving fresh or arriving dead, and a dead crab loses almost all of its value. Inside the plant, the operation shifts from survival at sea to precision on land. Crabs are unloaded onto a moving belt, where workers in thick gloves separate them by size and weight. Anything undersized is set aside. Everything else moves forward into one of the most demanding kitchens on the planet. The first stop is the wash line, where high-pressure jets blast away sand, algae, and ocean grime clinging to every leg and shell. Then comes the part that decides the color of the final product, the cook. Giant steel kettles, each holding thousands of pounds of crab, boil at a controlled temperature just above 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Within minutes, the shell shifts from a dull brown to the bright orange-red color the world recognizes as king crab. Timing. Here is exact. Cook too long, and the meat turns rubbery and dry. Cook too short, and bacteria remain, risking the entire batch. As soon as the timer ends, the crabs are plunged into ice water, stopping the cooking instantly and locking the meat's texture in place. From there, workers move to the cutting stations, where crab legs are separated by hand at incredible speed. Experienced cutters can process over 1,000 pounds of crab in a single shift, each cut precise enough to keep the leg intact for presentation, since a cracked or broken leg sells for a fraction of the price of a whole one. The legs then travel through a blast freezer, dropping to nearly -40 degrees in under an hour. This is not just about freshness. Fast freezing prevents large ice crystals from forming inside the meat, keeping the texture firm instead of watery once thawed. Slower freezing methods used decades ago are part of why old frozen seafood had a reputation for mushy meat. This process exists specifically to avoid that outcome. Once frozen solid, legs are individually wrapped, then packed into branded cartons stamped with harvest location, boat number, and freeze date, allowing restaurants and importers to trace every shipment back to the exact fishing ground it came from. This traceability has become one of the industry's biggest selling points, especially in markets willing to pay a premium for proof of sustainable sourcing. From the packing floor, pallets move directly into deep cold storage, waiting for export. Japan, South Korea, and the United States remain the three largest buyers, together consuming the vast majority of Alaska's annual harvest. A single pallet of king crab legs can carry a wholesale value exceeding $100,000, and an entire shipping container can be worth well over $2 million. By the time these legs reach a restaurant, their price has climbed dramatically. What left the boat priced by the pound now arrives on a plate priced by the piece. In upscale restaurants from Las Vegas to Tokyo, a single king crab platter can cost more than $100, and buffet chains famous for all-you-can-eat crab often lose money on the dish itself, using it purely to draw in customers who then spend on everything else. But this luxury exists on a fragile foundation. Warmer ocean temperatures have already pushed crab populations further north and deeper than researchers expected, and in recent years, entire fishing seasons have been canceled due to population crashes linked to changing sea conditions. Scientists now track juvenile crab numbers using underwater surveys, adjusting quotas year to year in an attempt to prevent another collapse like the one that nearly ended this industry decades ago. For the fishermen themselves, the risk has never really changed. Despite modern safety gear and better forecasting, crab fishing remains one of the most dangerous jobs in America, with a fatality rate far higher than most other professions. Every plate of crab legs served in a warm restaurant carries, somewhere behind it, the memory of a crew standing on an icy deck in the dark, pulling steel traps out of a sea that does not forgive mistakes. That contrast between the brutal reality of the harvest and the polished luxury of the final plate is what makes king crab more than just seafood. It is a story of risk translated into refinement, of a dangerous harvest transformed, piece by piece, into something served with butter and candlelight. If you want to keep discovering the hidden industries behind the food on your plate, subscribe to HighIndustries, because the next journey is already waiting beneath the surface.